Hello family, have some awesome gifts I want to share with you guys today. I got a lot of dreams that I've had in the last 2 nights, and there's a lot going on in these dreams. A lot of symbolism, some warnings, and things clicking up with other people's dreams and visions. So this first dream that I had that I want to share, it started off, I was in the car with my aunt, and her name's Pamela, but we call her Peachy. So in the dream, she had just picked me up, I guess, from my house, and in the car, while I was in the car, it might have been like a SUV or something like that, I'm not sure, but while I was in the car, I felt like a child again, like I felt like a younger child, and I was sitting in the back seat. So that's another reason why I feel like I was a child. So it started to storm. I don't know if it was raining or hailing, but it was one of the two. And then out of nowhere, this colorful mist or haze or cloud, something like that, appeared. And it was this purple color, like this purplish blue, and it was, we started to drive into it, and I see my aunt in the front seat driving, and she was saying something about trying to keep the mist from coming into the car. So at first it wasn't coming in, but then it started seeping in through the vents, and I knew at that point that I had to cover my face and keep from breathing in this mist. And it makes me, recently, before I had this dream, I was watching a show, and the Lord brought this back to my attention after I had thought about the dream, and I had saw in the show they had mustard gas. So and this is the third time I've had a dream where there was some type of toxic mist that was in the room, thrown at me in an attack sense. So I am starting to feel, what popped in my head is chemical warfare, a warning about chemical warfare. So let's keep an eye on that. So this mist, it was so thick, like you could literally cut through it. And it was, so I'm in the back seat, and we're driving through this mist, and it's seeping into the car, and I cover my face, and then I had put my window down, like I cracked my window, and I thought maybe it would seep into the car through the cracked window, but it wasn't seeping in. It was just going by the window. It was going by my window. And then it started to drip into the car, but it was dripping this orangish yellow color, and it was dripping down the window, and I'm like trying to wipe it off the window to keep the toxins from getting to me and me breathing them in. And then once it settled on the windowsill, and it changed into a solid state, and it was like ice. It was like an icicle that was in the form of the windowsill. So that was interesting. So then we get to my grandmom's house, and I knew at that point I was really tired. I just wanted to go to sleep. And then I knew, for whatever reason, I hadn't slept in 2 days. So I had got to, when we went to go in, my aunt and my niece were with us, and I knew that they were going to wrap Christmas gifts. Like they were about to go wrap Christmas gifts. And I said I was tired and I just wanted to sleep. And I remember my niece saying something like she wanted me to come wrap the Christmas gifts to her. Why wasn't I coming to wrap the Christmas gifts with them? But I was like, I'm just tired. I want to lay down. And like I was trying to move stuff around in the room to make space for me to lay down on the bed. But then at some point, I saw my face, and my face was real lumpy. Like I had a lump here, and like my cheek was all lumped out, and I knew it was like from water, like water weight, like water being under my skin, and it being all protruded out from water or something like that. So then I went to go. I had to use the bathroom before I laid down, so I went to go to the bathroom. But then my aunt, my niece were in the bathroom doing something, and then my aunt had told my niece to hurry up and do whatever she was doing so I could go use the bathroom. But at some point, I guess I looked in the mirror, and I had safety pins, not like in my skin, but like they were like pressed on my face, like I was playing with them or something like that. And I was taking them off. So I don't know what that has to do with. Then I went downstairs, and my family, my immediate family's there, like my wife, my kids, and then there's this other little girl that was like my like a daughter to me, but she wasn't my daughter, like my blood child. I think I might have been watching her, somebody else's kid, and I remember she was playing with this little doll or whatever, or this little toy, figurine or something, and I had told her not to color on it or put makeup on it, and then she said that she was gonna put makeup on it. And I had told her, I said, if you put makeup on it, I'm going to make you sleep in grandma's room. And then she's like, I don't want to sleep in grandma's room. It's creepy in there. So that was like a punishment to her for whatever reason. Then we were watching TV, and it was like this TV show on that was like a sports show, with like commenters and stuff. And at that point it seemed more like I was on the show in the audience or something like that. And there were two guys that were the commentators on the show, and they were announcing, they were talking about this other show that had to do with the channel that we were watching. And they were saying something about how, like, they were introducing all the people that were on this show, and it was some kind of sports show, like had to do with baseball or something like that. But the team was all women, and they were introducing each one of the women, and then they got to the one woman, and was like, this is the creator of the TV show, Felicia. Give her a hand. And so I looked up some of these names, and I don't remember them at the moment, so I might just put them in the description. But the guy, I know, one of the guys stood out to me, one of the commentators, and he was like, he wasn't black. He looked more like he was mixed, like white and black, because he was like a tan color. And he had this weird hairdo, like he had these swirls that were all over his head, and like they kind of went up in certain places. And then he had on these shades that looked like safety goggles, like those big clear safety goggles. And my focus was really on him, like the whole time. And at first he was sitting down, the commentators were sitting down behind the desk, and then it switched after they had announced the creator of the show, Felicia, who was this light-skinned younger woman. And like I saw her, and then it went back to them, and I saw that they were standing now, and the desk wasn't there anymore. But again, my focus was on this one guy, and now instead of what he was wearing before, which I don't remember, I think it might have been a suit or something. Now he was wearing all black, and he had a jumper on, and he didn't have a shirt or anything on under it, so I could see on his side, like he had all these tattoos, but on his side, on his left side, there was a big tattoo of it was either a dragon or a snake. So I'm thinking that this guy was a demon at this point, because he had on all black, and then he had the snake or the demon tattooed on him, and he had these black boots on. And then he starts to then I noticed he had a whip. He had a black whip too. And he looks at the camera, which I knew the camera was in my direction, but then it looked more like he was looking at me. And he had this like weird, goofy smile on his face, and he starts walking like sideways towards the camera, like in this weird, awkward way. I don't even know how to explain it. And the audience started laughing like he was joking. And then I had remembered before all this happened, at some point, like I remembered holding my baby Ronan at this apartment that we had, and I was trying to play with him. Like at that point he was like newborn, and I was trying to play with him and build some kind of Lego set or a model kit or something like that. And I remember it was really hard to get it done, because I had to hold him and try to do it at the same time. But then it switched to me comparing that to him now, and he was 2 years old at that point. And I was thinking how it was much easier to do things with him being 2 years old. So, and I woke up after that. So the next dream I heard, and it sounded like the voice of God. It sounded like Father God's voice, because it was deep and it was powerful, and it wasn't a voice that I've heard necessarily audibly before. But what the word said, it said, "This president." Then it was quiet for a second, and then I was thinking in my head, I'm listening. But then before I got this finished saying, "I'm listening to you," I heard the voice say, "I'm listening to you." Then I heard again, "This president," but it finished the sentence and said, "This president is the devil." Then I heard, "I am your God." So I am a little, like, I'm not sure, like that one part where it says, "I am your God." I'm wondering if that was Father God saying, letting me know that this is God speaking to you. It's me, I'm speaking to you. Or if he was saying that this president that is the devil will say, "I am your God." So it could mean both, not sure. But then I had another word spoken to me, and in this word it said, the word says, "If I'm promised to God, then I have what was promised to me." And then I knew, and I heard, a power to heal through laying of hands. And I was shown myself touching my wife's leg, who she has, like, she had been working out that day, and she said her leg was sore, and I saw myself touching her leg, and I knew that it was healed. Then I had another word that said Peter. I heard Peter, and then I saw a news clip about something in a town in Houston, Texas. And then I saw someone saying that the red button had never been pushed. And the red button makes me think about the button that you always see in like movies where they go to push the button to launch the missiles. It made me think about that. Then I had a dream where I knew a woman. There was a woman that thought we were in my dreams, and I thought we were in her dreams. So this next dream, I was in my mom's house, and I saw that my aunt and my uncle and my cousins had came to visit. I went outside to greet them, then brought them into the house. We were walking around like I was showing them around the house. They then wanted to go into the kitchen. I noticed there were 3 different doorways to get into the kitchen. They first tried to go through the one doorway, but it was very low and you had to duck down low to get through it, which made it a tight squeeze. I told them not to try to get through there, but showed them the other doorway. This entrance had 2 swinging doors like you see in a saloon in a cowboy movie. I believe there was also another door that had a knob to get in, but I'm not sure if it led to the kitchen or to another room. Then this next dream, I was actually praying, and I know, like, I was kind of starting to fall asleep, and then the Spirit took over, and I knew the Spirit was praying, was speaking for me, and I was saying things that the Spirit wanted me to say. So I was praying in the Spirit, and I heard myself saying, like, I saw God, or I had asked God to help me lift the sword. That's what I asked him. I was praying for help to lift the sword. And then I saw a vision of a child and an adult, like that child's parent or a coach or something like that. And they were holding the sword with the child, like around the child's hands, helping them lift it up. And I knew that child represented me. So this last dream, I had this morning, or last night, and in this dream, I was in a classroom, and I knew we were taking a math test and a baking test, and it was like an open book test, and the teacher was walking around helping everybody take the test, and she was standing next to my desk helping me and this other girl take the test. And because I had said at some point, I remember saying that I didn't know what I was doing on this math, because I felt like I hadn't studied or something like that, and everybody else knew how to do it real fast, and I was like, I don't know if I know how to do this. And she was like talking me through it. But then the test, then I knew there was another test that I had to take, and it was baking a cake. And I had asked, am I baking the cake at home, or am I baking the cake in the classroom? And then they had said to bake the cake at home and to bring it in, and then they would score us on whose cake was the best or something like that. And I saw like 3 cakes, like a vision of 3 cakes sitting together. And then when I was sitting at the desk, I saw a coupon for Purdue, like the Purdue chicken. And so that was kind of weird, and the teacher, she was like, oh, Purdue, and she had took the coupon, and I was like, oh, I was going to take it, and I was going to bring it home to mom. And then I knew at that point that I lived with my mom. But it was weird, because I was like, do I live with my mom, or does she live with me? And but that was not really important, but I just figured I'd throw that in there real quick. But the Purdue coupon, the teacher had wrote on it. She either wrote on it or put a stamp on it, and she was like real excited, and she was like, I'm gonna take this. And then I had left the class to go home, and I was standing in the hallway in this long line, and there were a bunch of other people in the line too. And it was weird, because it was like we were on a street and at a traffic light, so we were like waiting to be able to go. And I kind of feel like that has to do with with us waiting to be able to go on, in the rapture, or to be able to take and away, to be able to be called up away from the earth. And we were standing in this hallway, in this line, like it was traffic light. And then all of a sudden, the electricity goes out, and everybody's starting to freak out, like, oh no, electricity's out. And at that point, I knew I was in New York. I knew I was in New York City. And then I was worried because I was like, oh, like I knew at that point that all electronics had been knocked out. Like there was no electronics that were working. And even like in your car. And I had said to myself, I had said out loud that I wasn't going to be able to I didn't know how I was going to get home, because I wasn't going to be able to use my GPS. And I had a vision of the way that I took to get home, and I was trying to remember the exits that I needed to take to get home, or the way that so that I could get home. Then, like after a few minutes or so, the electricity came back on, and after that, I was at my sister's house. I was then at my sister's house, and my sister was there, and my mom was there somewhere, and I knew I was about to leave to go on a trip somewhere far. I'm not sure where though, but I knew it was I was going to have to take a plane to get there. And I had to use the bathroom, so I had went outside to use the bathroom for some reason. And actually I had to use the bathroom in real life, about like while I was dreaming, because usually when I have dreams like that, it's because I have to use the bathroom at like really wake up and go use the bathroom. But anyway, I had walked outside across the street, and there was this open lot, like full of sand or dirt, and I had went over in that lot to go use the bathroom, and I saw this guy, this like construction worker or something like that, working in the field, and I don't know what he was doing, but he was doing some kind of work. And I remember I started to go in the bathroom, and then he had looked at me. He was like, oh, that was that took you a really long time. And then I noticed that there was a bunch of trash and stuff laying around my feet. And I heard this little noise, like this little critter noise, and like crawling or something. And I knew at that point that it was some kind of crab creature, and it was coming out, like these crab creatures lived wherever we were at, and they would come out of the sand and like try to pinch you or whatever. So I had moved away, and I looked down, and I could see it like hiding, trying to wait to try to pinch me. So I had left, and then I was back in the house at that point, and I was getting my stuff together. And then I had this meat. It was either a pork chop or steak. And I had asked my sister if she wanted to try it. So I had cut it in half, and I gave her a piece. And she ate the piece, and she was like, oh, this is really good. And I'm not sure if I ate the other half or not, but I know I had the other half. And then, so I'm about to leave to go get on this airplane. So I give my mom a hug, and I give my sister a hug, and I'm saying bye to them, and then I tell them that that I was going to be back, but I knew I was going to be gone for a while, but I knew I was going to be coming back. And then I said that when I come back, I was going to stay at my sister's house for a few weeks. And then I had left the house to go to the airport, and I was in the stairwell walking up, and I see the mailman, and he's like delivering stuff, to each room in the apartment building. And he had asked me to deliver this package for him. He said, while you're on your way up, could you drop this off on the 8th floor? So I had said I wasn't sure. I had told him that I think I was only going to be going on the 3rd floor or the 4th floor, and I was trying to remember which floor had the bridge to get across to where the airport was. Then he had said that there was some kind of lift system in the building where I could put the package in and send it up to the floor that it needed to go on. And he had pulled it out and he was showing me how to use it. And it was like this pulley system where you put your package in this little container, and then you pull the string to get it up to whatever floor that it needs to get on. And then I had woke up. So like I said, guys, there was a lot in that dream, in those dreams, and I've been speaking with a few people here and there in the past few days, and the Lord's been giving me some kind of confirmations on some of the things that I was feeling in these dreams, like how I was saying that I feel like the warning about the chemical warfare, and then about the spiritual warfare with the demons, and I feel like that cloud, that purple cloud in the one dream, was like a purple haze, and a haze can also represent being like confused. So I'm wondering if that has to do with some type of deception that's coming, or the deception that's coming. And the reason why that was why I knew not to breathe it in, meaning that it won't affect me, to not be deceived by this cloud of deception. And then that's why I saw that it didn't seep into my window, but it went past my window. The Lord was showing me that this cloud of deception is not going to affect me, that He's going to guide me through it, and that's why we drove through the cloud unharmed. Then there's a few other things that I want to continue praying about and asking for some discernment and understanding on, and I'm sure I'll definitely get to you guys with any updates on these dreams. Of course, if you have anything that you feel that you're being spoken to about in these dreams that you're getting understanding on, definitely share that. That's always open. Otherwise, have a blessed day, guys. I love you, and remember, Jesus is the only way to the Father, for He is the way, the truth, and life, and no man come to the Father but by Him. So you must receive Jesus into your heart in order to receive salvation. I love you guys. God bless, and I'll talk with you soon.